Hey guys, it's Jessica from craftedandstampin.blogspot.com, and I know, where have I been? Work has just been crazy busy for me. I just haven't had time, and I miss you guys, and I'm so sorry, but I am back with quite a few videos. I'll have hopefully at least 3 this week, showing you a few different projects I made. So the first project that I have is going to be this technique. This is called the Bokeh technique, I believe, and it means out of focus, I believe. It's photography saying, I guess you could say. And I used Glacier Ink, and I used Thistle and Craft White Daisy ink, it's not craft, I guess you could say. It's more like a pigment ink. Yeah, it's a pigment. Our White Daisy pigment ink. And then the archival black ink. So those are the 4 colors I used to make this card. I also used the Operation Smile stamp set. It is called Happy Everything, okay, and it's got some super cute stamps on here. And actually, this card is the card I'm making the video for next, so you guys can see how I made this one. This is the little bees from there, so that's a fun one. But yeah, so anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you how I made this card. So the very first thing we need to do before we do anything is we need to make our template. Mine's a little dirty right now, and actually still a little wet, which is going to pose a problem if I do go to make my next card. But let's go ahead and get our template made. Now, all this is a transparency. I just cut it on my Cricut, and I just wanted to show you how I did that. So I'm actually going to use my iPad, and I'm going to try and show you how I did it. Hopefully the light isn't going to throw us off. So all I did was go to a new mat, and I typed in circle way at the top up here. So let's put this off. So let's show you how it comes up first. Well, it's already got circle programmed in there, so I'm just going to type in and pretend it wasn't there. So let's do circle, and it's going to take just a few seconds to load, and I'm already signed in. So it shows all my projects that are purchased and whatnot. So I just want to look for a plain circle, and there's one right here. It's actually comes up pink. You're just going to click on that. Down at the bottom, you're going to make sure it's highlighted. Whoops. And you are going to, you can see that it's got the check mark, and you're going to hit insert right down here, okay? So once we have it in there, it's going to come in gigantic. We're going to come down to the very bottom, okay? Let's see, hopefully this works a little better. I'll bring this down a little more. Okay, we're going to hit edit, and we're going to go ahead and change the size. I want actually one that's 1.20, and then I'm going to hit come down here to actions. I'm going to hit duplicate. Might as well hit duplicate 2 times while I'm in here. There we go, because I want 3 circles. I'm going to come back to edit, and I'm going to change this one to 1.0. Okay, and this one's going to go to let's say 0.80, because for some reason I can't get it to do 0.75. I can't get it to be 1.25, so hence why I did those. Now, for my template, I don't want to, if I put these on the mat and I send this to the mat right now, it's going to just put them in whatever way saves the most space. Well, I don't care about the most space right now. I want my template to be a certain way. So all you're going to do is come over to your image, and you're going to just tap it, okay? So we're just going to tap that image. We're going to come over, and we're going to do a long hold on the second image, and another long hold on the third image, and then come down here to actions, and all we're going to do is hit attach, and that means that it's going to attach them, so that way they all go together, and when I go to send it to my mat, it's going to print with this much width and whatnot around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit down at the bottom, send to mat. If I can hit it right, there we go, and then it's going to show you that it's going to cut it just like that on my mat. And then if I were to hit go, it would go ahead and hit it send to my Cricut, but I don't need that right now because I've already made the template. So that's point number 1. That is the first thing we need to do, is make our template. So like I said, mine's done. I would love to know what side this is even on, but anyway, let's go ahead and get this right to the side. And as I said, I'm using Thistle and Glacier. And I'm going to come in first, and I am just going to use my sponge dauber and the Glacier Ink. You always want to start with your lightest color, okay? And I'm just going to rub it really good inside my Glacier Ink, and I'm just going to come in and I am going to use the sponge dauber all over my cardstock. And this piece happens to be 3 3/4 by 5 because I'm going to mat it on a piece of black that was 4 by 5 1/4, and then my card is actually 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, a typical A2 size card. So that's what I'm doing. So like I said, I'm just going around. It doesn't matter if some's really light and some's really dark. I'm just going to go around and get these colors on my card base. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I hope that is not so bright. There we go. Light means business. So glad I got one, but holy cow, you sweat under it. Okay, so now that I got all the glacier on the way that I want it to be on, I'm going to close my stamp pad up. Don't leave it open. I'm going to come over and get my Thistle Ink and my Thistle sponge dauber. Excuse me, my allergies are killing me. In New Jersey, it's horrible right now. So all I'm going to do is just make some little designs however I want it with my Thistle. Doesn't matter how dark or light it goes, just do some coloring with it. Okay, you can have some areas darker, some areas lighter. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my heat. Oopsie daisy, where did my template just go to? Oh, there it goes. Oops, hold on one second. I just dropped my template into the trash can. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we are going to take our heat tool and dry this a little. Now it seems silly to do that, but it is very wet and it's going to affect how our white daisy stamps. So where is my heat tool? I just had it. There it goes. I'm just going to take mine. I'm just going to hit my paper with some ink, with some heat, so it dries it up a little. I think we're going to dry. Okay, great. Maybe just a little bit more. Hold on. Okay, that's dry, I think. So we have that done. Hi, dude. Hi, what's up? Say hi to the audience. That's Bubba's hand. Audience. Since you've last talked to Bub, he is official. Oh, he has turned 10. Yay, Bubba. Okay, so I just want to make sure my extra white was off this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now, oopsie daisy. Did not mean to put that onto my computer. I'm going to go ahead and get my sponge dauber, okay? And I'm going to get it, inked up kind of well. And I'm going to just pat. I don't want to rub, because if I'm rubbing and it is still wet in some spots, I'm taking the ink off and putting it into my ink, and I don't want to do that. I already learned my lesson, so let's just pat, okay? And I'm just going to, whoops, you can't even see what I'm doing. That's awesome. There we go. Hold on. There we go. So like I said, I'm just patting. Patting, patting, patting. Be sure to use one finger to really hold the bottom piece that we already used our sponge daubers on really close, because we don't want it to move, which I did plenty of times on the last card. Okay. Now we're going to just carefully peel up. and we're gonna move our template around. Now, be careful you don't get onto and let it sit onto one of the other circles you just did, because when you move it, you're gonna smear it. So just take your time and pat, pat, pat. Don't rub, rub, rub. Pat, 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 pat. Okay, now see, I like that one. That came out really, really bright. Remember, like I said, look how I'm just dab, dab, dab. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Okay, hold on. I will move up in 1 second. Here we go. Ready? Let's use our dauber. And just be careful how you put it down, because if you do touch the wet ink, you don't want to smear, whoops, you don't want to smear what you've done. Now, hold on. Let's move this up so I can move the camera, so I can zoom in a little. There we go. Now hopefully you'll be able to see a little more. Oh, maybe that'll actually work a little bit better. I just turned off the light. It became way dark. Okay, so let's keep going. I'm gonna move this to where this is touching these guys. I think that'll look actually kind of cool if you ask me. Look how neat that looks. Oh, I love it. Love that I keep finding better ones to do. Can you guys see this at all? I have to remember, you know what? I'm gonna move my camera back a little bit. We're gonna shove this stuff back a little bit so I can move this up a little bit and then keep the camera back. There we go. Now we're in business. Now you should be able to see what I'm doing perfectly. Okay. See how it's looking? Let's go back a little bit. There we go. It's coming out really neat. I'm loving it so far. You can do some a little bit lighter to give the, you know, the make pretend vision of being further away and more in and out of focus. Okay. There you go. Just be careful, like I said, how you place it down. You don't want to completely ruin it because you have a wet template still, or a wet piece still. And yeah, move it and it doesn't look like a circle anymore. Okay, now all I'm going to do is come in with my dauber, lighter in some places and darker in others. There we go. I think you can see it a little better there. I love it. Looks so cool. Very neat. Okay, so this is how, sorry, I'm trying to scoop it up here. This is how it ended up looking. Look how awesome that looks. God, I love these colors. Okay, so now what we want to do is, number one, we're going to get our template and we're going to clean it off, because if you don't, you're going to keep putting your hands in it like I have all day. And it's been super messy all day. So let's go ahead and get it all cleaned. And the good part about doing it on the transparency is that you can keep it, make multiple, you know, multiple cards, multiple fun. And also the other cool thing about this technique, you can even use it on a scrapbook page. How fun will that be if you put your pictures on it? Like, especially pictures that were kind of out of focus. Like, it just brings it all together. So, very cool, very cool. Now, let's go ahead and get our piece of cardstock we need cut. Our black cardstock, which needs to be cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So, let's go ahead. I'm going to cut that slightly off camera, guys, so I'm not, oops, throwing you off. Okay, so 4 by 5 1/4. And on top of that, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to get some heat and hit it with our paper with our heat tool. We also need another piece cut out at, I believe, 1 1/4 by 2 by 3 1/4, and that's for our sentiments. Let's do that too now while we're doing it. And I figure out why this isn't. Do 2 by 3 1/4. Awesome. Okay, so we got both our pieces cut. So we can go ahead and put our paper trimmer to the side. We don't need that anymore. Okay, so here's what the card looks like. Okay. Like I said, let's go ahead and hit this with some heat because it definitely needs to dry before we can do anything with it. Because if we try to glue it down, it's not going to glue right. It's going to smear, and then it's just not going to look pretty. And we don't want that after we just spent all our time making this. God, I'm so happy with how this turned out. It looks great. I like this one better than my first one, I think. That is still wet. Okay. While we're waiting for that to dry, let's go ahead, because it's drying, just not as fast as I'd like it to. Let's go ahead and get our piece of white daisy cardstock. We need it to be 1 3/4 by 3. Can I make it be 3? Perfect. So I need it to be 1 3/4. And that way it's big enough to do our stamp. Let's see. Okay. Oops, I just stuck my finger all in that. So this, we're going to use the Have a One-of-a-Kind Fabulous Day. So go ahead and get your piece of foam. Okay. Get your black archival ink. So that way it shows up really vibrant. And I've already conditioned my stamp, obviously. Hopefully this is straight. I can't really see it because I have you guys on camera. And I love how it's supposed to look like it's all funky. That's actually the way the stamp is. So it's actually looking right on. Okay. And then we're just going to mount it. Now, for whatever reason, my paper trimmer has been doing this with my white. So I'm going to just take my my micro tip scissors, my non-stick ones, so that way it doesn't jack it all up. Just don't know why it's like making all the fuzz lately. Anyway, it's probably me. So there we go. We're gonna mount this. And I did not round the corners on either of these. On the other card, I took my corner rounder and I did round them. Just go ahead, get this on here. And then I took the little triangle stamp that came in this, and even though it's a real long stamp, I put it on, you know, the little small block here because I just want a little bit. I only did the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrows and inked them up. I was just real careful about how I inked it. See how I was able to get all the way up to the corner. And I'm just going to come in and get it right on my stamp. Just like that. See, it just adds a little bit of pop of color instead of just black on white. So, we got that done. We can put all our ink sets, ink pads to the side. And now, we're going to go ahead and just give it a quick blow. And if you see any spots that you're not happy with, go ahead and trim them up. Okay? And just, I'm not actually even going to turn that over. I'm a little leery about doing that. I'm just going to kind of eyeball a 1/4 inch in because I know these are, you know, I took it a 1/4 inch to have this as a mat, and it should be okay that way. And let's go ahead and get that on. Hopefully that's straight. Okay, looks kind of straight to me. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add this, and I'm actually going to use some foam tape for it. Go ahead and get that on. Come on. You and me and the foam. Never have anything readily handy. I don't know why I keep my foam tape in my drawer. So annoying. So I'm just using whatever I have extra about. I think it's because subconsciously I love our foam tape so much. The close to my heart kind. I'm just afraid I'm going to run out of it again. That was devastating when I did. Alright, not devastating. God forbid. There's tons of other things that are devastating, but it's like, oh my goodness. Okay, almost done here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get that on. Oops, before we do that, let's get this mounted to our card. And, watch yourself, baby. Need my card base here. So we're going to make our card base be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Sorry, I have to tour my room to get to my paper trimmer again because it fell. We are going to just make this card just like this. I can't lift up. Okay. So all we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to tape this again. Okay. Just put your tape in about 1/4 inch, leave 1/4 inch border, and then that way you know you're not going over. Because we don't want to put this down, especially like I said, in case the white is still wet. Even after hitting it with the heat, can still be wet. You don't want to ruin it. Okay, so we got that on. We got that on. It looks to be about even. Now we're going to come in and get our Black Shimmer Trim. And all I did was actually, I cut it a little bit bigger than what the card is, like literally a smidge bigger, and it didn't matter if I made it straight or not. That's why I make it a little bit bigger. I lay it on just like so. Okay, let's just make sure it's straight though. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is flip this open, cut off the extra, and that way you know it's it's nice and straight. There you go. Now, what I also did was I took some of our sequins, and obviously we don't have black sequins, but as you can see in my card, it looks like we do. All I did was get the Shin Hand Twin Touch marker, and I took the silver sequins and I colored them. See how great they come out? Okay. And I did multiple, and of course I don't have any left with me right now, so we're just going to color the one, and I'm going to show you what else I did. Took the bling gems. Okay. I'm actually going to just stick this one here, and I'm going to get the bling gem and put it right on the top. Oops. Ah! Did I not take the glue off? There we go. So that's all I did. And that is the card. How adorable are these? These are super fun and super easy to make. I am definitely in love with them. I am totally a fan of this technique. And I have to admit, I am absolutely in love with this stamp set. This is, like I said, the Operation Smile stamp set. You can get it while this Annual Expressions is still around. This happens to be the one for that. It's got have a one-of-a-kind fabulous day. Oh my, happy birthday. On the inside, we're going to say because you're one-of-a-kind fabulous person. Actually, let's do that now because I always forget to do that. All the time I forget my stamps on the inside of my cards, and then when I'm going to grab it, I have to stop and pull out my sentiment, and that can be annoying, especially if you're in a rush like I usually am. So let's go ahead and just get the insides of our sentiments stamped, and I'm going to use Thistle. Where's our foam? Here it is. Hopefully that's straight, because you're one of a kind, fabulous person. So cute. One down. Let's try this one more time. There we go. That got a little messed up, but that's okay. I can redo on top of that. So now we've got both our cards done. It was super easy. If you are on a roll and you maybe know, like for instance, this Glacier is a great base. I could definitely use this Glacier and maybe Pacifica, Glacier and Lagoon would probably look pretty. But this Glacier is really good. I'm going to actually probably try Glacier and Pixie. I just love them. I love the colors. You can make so many different cards, so pretty. You can kick out a bunch in a row if you just go right on down the line, kind of do an assembly line. So I'll have all the different products that I use down below, including the stamp set, the shimmer trim, the color inks I chose, and anybody that purchases these items, I'll actually even send you the design space file I created for the template. That way you don't have to worry about it if you're unsure of what, anything that I did. Super easy. If you don't have a computer to utilize Design Space, or you don't have a Cricut, you can do it with different size punches. Just punch into your acetate. Either or will work. But all information will be down below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I've missed you so much. Can't wait to get my full mojo back and get into the swing of things. Okay, take care. Hope to catch you crafting and stamping. Bye.